Welcome to where the furniture isn't always the best, but them views, they are amazing.
Well, you might as well
Welcome,
start
ladies
with
and gentlemen, to the 13th floor where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am your moderator, B. Jones, and I got Faison here this week, man. What's going on?
Tired, but I'm here.
All right, man. You here? Full of energy, life. You the BFBG. You good.
It's okay. I can still be friendly and tired. I'm not an angry tired person. I'm just just there. But it's you know what? I'm good. I got a little more energy talking to y'all before we started taping, so that gave me a little oomph. So I'm good. I'm
I
good.
wish I had that. I am the angry, tired person. Out of my way so I can get to my bed. BJ, what's going on down low?
It's cold down there, man. He got the sweater on. I don't do this down here in South Florida.
You got on a sweater.
Everybody thought that was a polo till
Man,
you
that's
let
like
it be
a
known.
polo pullover or something.
Till you let it be known.
A sweater, man.
Really? What is it, like 55?
It dropped down to 38 last night.
Maybe it is kind of cold down there. Frisco,
Hey,
what
if
you
we
think?
get it, I'm about to say if we get a verification from those up north, I feel like we is in there. I got a
I was
t-shirt
like,
on, but I will say it is chilly as a witch's. Yep. And I mean it's cold down here for me. I used to live in Alaska 10 years, 2 to 12 years old, but I don't care what nobody say. My blood is not thickened enough. I am down here in a state of emergency. Y'all please send some spare winter clothes. I'm gonna put the address in the joint. Y'all can go ahead and send the cash donation so I can go to Burlington Coat Factory to BB Fresh, any type of Venmo, Cash App, any of that stuff. You know,
Yo,
we out here.
last night was serious. I had to sleep in socks and pants last night because I was that cold.
Facts.
wow.
Facts. And the worst thing about cold is that it dries out your skin. Nothing worse than dry, itchy skin.
We're living that. Thank you. That's every day.
Hey,
So.
I'm you know, I do my lotions and my oils and all of that. It does,
for no reason.
Yes. You start thinking, man, do I got psoriasis? That's what happens when you get old. You start thinking everything is like some type of real like issue. I got eczema. Something's going on. My skin is done.
Now your skin is all cracked and dry.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You don't feel it until you try to lie down and go to sleep at night. What is that?
Big facts.
I bet Burlington Coat Factory right now is probably sold out of all the good stuff.
Oh,
and they're just
I know it is. They've racked up this because
It's still hilarious to see it down here in Florida though because people pull out. It's cold, but it's not an up north cold, right?
seeing the fur jackets, the fur coats coming out.
Yeah, so it's still funny to see all that pull
it's
out.
fantastic watching these people
tell y'all
pull
two
out the
things.
boots with the fur and everything else,
I'm
bro.
gonna tell y'all two things. It was single digits here last week, and then this week we started out mid-20s, and it was like, oh, it's warm out here. I don't need this jacket.
The jacket with
True.
the fur and
That's
the
true.
wolf
And then,
hoodie.
and then number two, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting everybody on alert. There will be no clearance winter sale because it was cold in South Florida and they bought everything. So there will be no clearance sale.
Done ruined it.
Yeah, that's where the
Ruined
milk
it.
come down. We come down there
Everybody
and buy
comes
things in
down and
Florida.
buys up all the coats at Burlington Coat Factory.
Yep, not anymore.
Easy. So you heard his voice, Coach
I'm
K.
pretty sure I can get you a couple on the low. So hit me up on the side. We can make a deal.
BJ out here making deals.
Hey.
Coach K, what's up, man?
Man, you say, Coach K, what's up? Did you ever make it past Faison? I mean, like everybody else just started
He introduced
talking.
No, he introduced everybody else. You must have
I
went
was
to a
talking to
little
Brett,
zone.
man.
I'm sorry.
Hey, he's trying to pick on me, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just me. You know what I'm saying? Since you know,
Your place.
I get all of that now. You see that? Aggression. What's going on, sir?
There was no blaze for you. All that smoke was for Brett.
You keep
came
that
across
smoke
the
for that
end.
brisket I'm coming to get. That's what the
Oh.
smoke.
Well,
In that case,
the brisket is on the grill right now.
Oh, solid.
dang, so we got to go get the duck then because the brisket going to be gone by now.
Nah,
Right
man,
next-
let's get another brisket, man. It's all good.
We're going to get the duck too.
But I know where to get the duck from. That's easy.
Okay.
They sell it at my local hookup spot.
He got him a meat
Okay.
market,
Man, got a
ladies and
meat.
gentlemen.
He going to
Aldi's
meat
up
store
there?
now.
Meat market. Pause.
Exactly. No more supermarket for you. The meat store.
All right, nope. I go to the butcher shop. Yep.
You getting the big box, you know what I'm saying, with all of the assorted meats and stuff, or you just getting specific?
No, I actually did just subscribe to that, and it is awesome. However, now they actually sell seafood too, which is why we actually made the decision to go ahead and do it. So I get a mixture of beef, chicken, and seafood. Yeah.
Interesting. Is it what kind of seafood?
It's wild caught. So they have salmon, they have scallops, they have
Mullet?
Man, no mullet, man.
I was like, what? Wild caught tilapia.
What?
That
Exactly. Right?
No,
I want to find anybody
wild
out
caught
there in the universe who is caught tilapia. We're going to give you access to the podcast. We want you on
Caught
the
a
show.
tilapia?
If you've ever went ahead and reeled one of those big ones in and caught a tilapia, please let me know.
In the
Until
pool
then,
in your
I suggest
backyard, that don't
everybody
count.
stay off of that tilapia.
The pool in your backyard does not count, ladies and gentlemen.
Big facts, big facts.
Easy. Sticking with you, Fresh, man. We got to give you a major shout out due to that new intro music, man. That joint been jamming since it's been jamming, bro.
Yeah.
It's the 13th floor. Oh man, that right out every single time it plays.
I stepped up to the challenge pretty much. Y'all boys been on me for a minute, not only to freshavate that logo and bring that intro to life one more again. This is my third intro, so I felt real good about putting that real group feel into it, and we freshavated that thing on out. That thing riding. Glad y'all enjoy it. Y'all might have to check that thing on iTunes. Don't be scared. It ain't download. I'm about to say we gonna put it somewhere. Y'all can download and vibe to that joint. Put it in your playlist. Get that thing funky.
I peeped the group feel when it's Fresh's voice on there 3 or 4 different ways.
It isn't really until you hear the end and then you just like, what the hell was he doing in that room? And I mean, it was literally recorded right here in Freshavation Studios, mobile, but we still get it popping. So y'all let me know if y'all need another intro out there. Anybody out there in the land? I do this thing all over. Jiggle Jangles, Freshavated with your boy. Holla at me.
So we gotta figure out what to do with that Barry White version though.
Hey, just get that a straight acapella.
Chewing beat. Oh, okay. Yeah, straight acapella. There it is. So this week, man, I want to talk a little bit about the universe, man. BJ, I'm glad you made it because it might get a little bit spiritual or religious in some regards. But
BJ is the only sanctified saint.
Right?
oh, absolutely, man. We already know that.
Everybody else is a heathen.
This man been dropping elbows all day, ladies and gentlemen. The subliminals he's been putting in the chat room has been just outrageous.
Not on purpose, but anyway, yeah, just sticking with the universe a little bit this week. Just some different experiences that I had, especially while I was in St. Louis. Carol, you privy to one when we were talking about the police situation at the new office or whatever, and how just protected I was and how bad that could have turned out. But over the course of the week, I've just kind of realized that, going through different things, the different energies that we put out there, it really dictates what we receive back. That situation in St. Louis, it wasn't necessarily an energy type of situation, but I definitely believe that God had me protected on all on all sides, because it could have been ugly. Walking into a potential, what happened to BJ? Walking into what could have been a very bad situation, potential getting thrown to the ground, dragged down, and taken to St. Louis prison, and having Carol having to drive 4 or 5 hours to bail me out could have been pretty ugly. But other situations that had happened, there's one in particular where I had like a really, really good day finishing up a project and had this gift given to me. Now, it was actually a bottle of liquor. And I had waited, till the end of the project to actually crack that thing. So I'm on my way home, got my bottle in my hand, ready to go, have a great evening, right? And as I'm getting out of the car, coming through the garage, I got my hands full, got a couple of things, and dropped this very expensive bottle of liquor all over the garage. So like all of that gone, wasted, down the drain. And that moment literally killed everything for me for the rest of the evening. Like there was no coming back from it. Like I was just pissed. I wasn't trying to hear nothing Chris had to say. We were supposed to go to this masquerade party, you know, dancing, having a good time and everything. And I just couldn't get up for it. Just couldn't do it or whatnot. And, you know, not only did it affect me internally, it affected her, obviously, because, you know, I'm, you know, sourpuss, you know, spoiling all of the fun, just can't get up for the party. So it was just a bad evening all the way around. And then, so fast forward a few weeks later, actually, as I'm coming back from St. Louis, I somehow managed to park my truck in an area where I'm not supposed to park. It's reserve parking, and I just missed the sign completely. I've been parking here for 2-3 years now, never seen it. So I walk outside next morning, see my car, and it's gone. Gone, right? And remembering how terribly affected I was from that first bottle situation, and looking at this situation when my car got towed, and I got to come up with, the money to bring it out, to get it out of tow or whatever, but didn't really let it affect me as much. And it was an extremely, extremely hard fight to stay positive in that whole situation. But I do believe because I didn't let it, really negatively impact me, I was like, all right, it's going to be fine. I'm just going to get my car, pay the money, pay the fee or whatever, and figure out the rest afterwards. Not only was I able to get the car out, but I actually kind of came up on some extra money just by, utilizing the resources, asking family or whatever to help out, and came out ahead instead of, being pissed off and like mad at the world for my car getting towed, and just putting that negative energy out there, keeping that positive spirit, like everything's going to be okay. We're going to pick it up. I got my help from my family, and then keeping it pushing, forward. And so the focus, in all of that, I really want to hit on is how we react to certain situations and how we react to certain stimuli, and how that in turn creates what we get, out of those situations.
I know me personally, it's one of the keys of freshivation. But I know I can count the situation. Well, I can't count, but I know I've had numerous situations where I've allowed instances, stuff to allow me to get emotionally invested in situations that I cannot change. And that's ultimately what it boils down to. A great quote is that if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, if you have anxiety, you're living in the future. And your calmest state is when you're in the present moment and in the now. And over time, seeing how many times I've allowed, my frustration, my anger, whatever it may be, to ruin enjoying a moment, an opportunity, time with somebody, with loved ones. I can remember specifically 2017, New Year's into 2018. That New Year's, my, at the time, girlfriend and her daughter were driving to go to a New Year's party. I'm supposed to be DJing. I don't know what we got into an argument about, but pretty much led into me getting into a minor car accident, calling off for everything. I called the people who I was supposed to be DJing for. I canceled the whole party. Went back home, and ultimately I cried in the garage while they celebrated. Well, while my girlfriend and her daughter at the time were inside watching the ball drop in the house. That allowing my emotions and everything, I ruined so much for not only myself, but them, a whole party I pretty much deaded. I don't think that they had that New Year's party ever since. And so it's seeing that motion, it definitely shows that allowing yourself to think positive can always bring you to a realization, stuff happens to everybody, but how you're able to positively deal with it and understand life is about the lesson and learning and pushing your way through it, as opposed to getting frustrated and stuck in that moment.
Absolutely. And I mean, even in all of those situations, I mean, I remember that situation too, you know what I'm saying? Like when it actually happened to you. But even in any situation that we go through in life, I definitely think that, I had to take on the mantra that everything happens for a reason. The reason I didn't get hemmed up in St. Louis and get taken off to jail or because of a mistaken identity type of situation was because I was so busy working that I couldn't go back to my office or whatever, where, you know, this, long story short, there were some deliveries that were being made to the office suite where we rent an office at in St. Louis, and it was drug related. The guy that was coming to pick up the packages looked like me, tall black guy with dreads. Um, and so the day that I guess the police had set up the squad to come pick him up or whatever was the exact day I was supposed to be going back there to pick up my security badge. And luckily enough, got too busy and couldn't make it, right? So because I was so busy and so enthralled in what was going on at work, I was protected. You know, even being able to get out of St. Louis, you know, that Friday, me and Carol recorded the podcast Thursday night. And then, you know, after the podcast and even time leading up to the podcast, I'm talking about this 12:30 flight that I need to book to be able to get out of there. We even spoke about it on the podcast. Well, we got off the podcast. I do a little bit of work and forget to book the flight. Wake up the next morning, flight's already sold out. I'm thinking I'm stuck in St. Louis for the weekend because that snowstorm canceled everything after 3:00. But lo and behold, you know, staying positive, calmly thinking through the situation, I'm like, man, there's 3 other airports right here in my general vicinity. Even if I got to fly into Richmond, I can get to Richmond and then get back to DC some kind of way to get to Baltimore and get my car or whatever. So looking at things, you know, that flight being canceled or being sold out at 12:30, it was just a little bump in the road. It happened for a reason. I was able to do another site visit earlier in the day and I have to rush to the airport and possibly miss my flight and then really be stuck. So just looking at things like everything happens for a reason. There's a purpose within whatever struggle you're going through, and, you know, really taking the time to identify that and whatever the lesson is.
Well, it seems like you were in the old adage, but you were being tested to see if you can handle the next level of some things coming your way. And because of where you handle yourself may have opened up some doors mentally for you to be able to take on those bigger tasks coming your way that you didn't know was coming.
Absolutely. I didn't even look at it that way.
And also, it kind of goes back to, and I can't remember like exactly where it comes from, but like you're doomed to repeat the test until you learn your lesson, right? So those things, those individuals that react and let something like, and again, I'm not minimizing the situation, but like the bottle dropping in the garage that night, that ruined all the plans, all the personal time with Chris, with everything else going on. That one incident messed up how the rest of the day played out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's reflecting, okay, so now what was that trigger? What were those things that caused me to react that way? Or maybe, again, because I went from this place of feeling great to letting that thing that I hadn't even tasted, I haven't even opened, I hadn't even done anything. It was just the thought of using it to celebrate a victory. I already have the victory.
Exactly.
You had the project, you had the completion of it, you did your best work, you put your best foot forward, you had that. That was a trigger for you in that moment, because the value was placed, in my opinion is hearing it, the value was placed on that item to celebrate versus the victory itself. And then when we step back from the bigger picture, we look at everybody, how we respond to people, and individual with different attitudes, different perspectives, different situations like that, or people who cut you off in traffic or want to wave to you with one finger in traffic, like all these different things that they go on their place, like how you respond and how you take your level of almost anxiety to in some perspective of whether you overreact or kind of minimize yourself in the situation. Like we lose sight of what the original purpose was. Well, you're in that car traveling before somebody cuts you off to go visit your family member. Now you're going to ruin the time you have with them, which could quite possibly, because we never know, maybe the last time you see that person, right? That victory you had for the job, that was something that you put in place. Again, you put in blood, sweat, and tears. And yes, the celebratory piece was a piece for you to just kind of sit back and reflect on it, but you already had the victory. So when we put these things in perspective and we step back from ourselves and look at the bigger picture, and a lot of people say it's easier said than done, and somewhat true.
That's fair.
It's fair, and I have to give people the argument when they say it. But when you actually take a step back and evaluate all the moving pieces to each individual situation, sometimes you see how petty we make situations and how bad we make situations because of something that was very, very minute, something that really should not have affected the way we are. But the human side of us allowed that to happen.
Very true. I was going to say, coming back to what Art had said, I had actually just spoke with my mother about this the other day, but my mentality changed. I can't pinpoint the exact day, but my mentality changed from always thinking like, how come me and why is, this happening and feeling like, it was a down situation to where it's like every challenge, every time something crazy happens to me now, I'm more just like, how am I going to figure this out? Like, I'm more excited about like, I'm going to get out of this situation and be able to talk about it later. And I'm always more, excited with the more adversity and the more crazy stuff that I have to overcome and deal with. There's very little now that really gets under my skin because I'm more just excited to have that opportunity to do something new, to figure out some new way, and then to also be able to like tell people like, yeah, man, I've dealt with that, and I got over it. I overcame it. It's nothing. It's small things to a giant.
There's no way to have a testimony without a test. Bottom line.
And I want y'all, another thing I want to bring up is y'all go back and listen to this while BJ done got out of his shell in this statement. I want y'all to listen to the pauses, because this man will have these pauses where you just see Keenan Ivory Range jump out the window and scream message. It doesn't resonate in your spirit like good juice. I don't even know, but y'all make sure to focus on that too.
Okay, you look like you was trying again a couple times, man.
Those windows have closed.
There it is, man. There it is. So moral of the story, man, keep your energy positive. Keep it pushing forward, man. Look for the lesson. Don't get petty and caught up in the small thing. Everything happens to you. It's happening for a reason. Look at what that reason is and try to keep it pushing forward. Keep that positive energy flowing, because you never know what's going to come back to you. Frisco Freezy, man. I need my freshivation for the week.
Let's see. Into my magic bag of freshivation. Let's see what we have on the docket. First off, I do want to shout out Will and Martin, my guys.
How could we forget?
Living
all that Jess do last week, but how could we forget, man? Ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all check out my main man Fresh and his new cinematic debut.
We out here, ladies
Boys
and
for
gentlemen.
life out there whipping it.
We call it Por Vida on the Spanish circuit, just so you know.
I know it's out there whipping them exotics. Whipping them.
Y'all go ahead and check the Instagram. I just went ahead and dropped one of them joints in front of the 3 Porsches. We was just out there on set, but that's another story. That's for another day. That's another thing I overcame, if you feel what I'm saying. But we're going to get into this freshivation. We're going to drop what we did today. It was live and direct on today is what? The 20th? What is this? The 22nd?
22nd,
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's about right.
Live and direct. Daily freshivation. I love myself. I can feel the love emanating from my heart. I love the way I think. I love the way I look. I love the way I talk. I am so grateful to be in this body. I love myself unconditionally. I love my life. I'm grateful for my life. I love my friends, my family. I am so happy with my life. My heart is open and full of gratitude. That's freshivation. Just go ahead and absorb that. Say it out loud in the mirror. Look at yourself and love yourself and love the people you with, and let all of that just be freshavated and out in the air, and just, there you go. Kick the week off, start the end of the week, whatever you're doing. When you're listening, you freshivate. You know what it is. We out here.
There it is. Faison, man, we coming your way, man. What you got for us this week?
I kind of always come back to the patience and reward thing process, but at the same time with the patience, you got to be perseverance in that mindset where you can't just let things wait and pass on in the life of business or in whatever you're doing yourself. yeah, you need to take your time to get there. Doesn't mean you can't make sure you're poking the bear or you're doing a task or getting ready or reminding of your where you want to be. So I would say just a quick recap of that process is know where you want to go, take your time to get there, but don't forget about the steps it takes to get up to that goal you want to get to. When you're climbing a ladder or you're on a treadmill, there's still steps in between the goal. So it takes time to get there, but you got to know how to get there and how to make it happen while you're going.
There it is. Hey, quick question, Art. I missed you when it was actually a thing in the media, but all of that Boosie foolishness, man, how did that hit you?
At first I was pissed. I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. Now I was like, but wait, wherever he is, why didn't some bro just like rip it off of him? Because I know his bro is there. Then I think, well, that's insurance purposes and people go to jail for that. So, okay, let's pull back on that mindset. But then, the fact that it became what it was, and he apologized for the process. I was like, all right, now I understand. He thought it was a cool shirt. He thought it was a champ shirt, whatever it may be. He didn't go to college. He didn't have a process. And I was like, okay, great. Then I found out this dude's brother is Greek. So I was like, okay, so everything he said is pulled back. You now know, unless his brother is uninformed. So if he's not in that mindset, then we got to make sure that he is taught the proper things to teach around him. But normally you come home and you're proud and you're doing all these things, and you're yelling at people and, you're breaking people's wrists for your cane. That almost happened to me at But so that's where you learn from, I was wearing a breaking wrist. I didn't get mine. But you don't know those things. So I was surprised by that. But then the video of him trying to do the shimmy was just hilarious. That was just funny. Because yes, it's a thing that we do, and it's in our known, but it's not like arcane, or it's not like it's there, it's our move. But it's not like it's specifically just for us. So it was just funny to see him try, and then just the conversation he was having, and he was trying to, at the camera. And that was it's just funny. It turned into like the anger turned into, it's an enjoyment and it's okay, but it's a lesson that everybody learned. And it had a lot of conversation amongst all Greeks across. So it was good. It was a good way to do a positive message without being violent, because it could have turned a whole different way.
Yeah, it could have been bad for some folk. But yeah, it was a lot of interesting conversations amongst my circles too. And just hearing different people's reactions to seeing some of that. Because I mean, me personally, I'm not jumping in Boosie's face and being body slammed by however many.
All right.
He's just gonna have to have that, and we'll figure it out on the other side.
Exactly.
Before I go to you, Coach K, man, let me remind all of our listeners, you can get with us on social media platforms at 13th Floor, please. You can catch the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Vimeo, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are playing. We are there. Get with us. Stay connected, subscribe, and leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments.
Soak it up. A lot of knowledge we don't put out there. Go on there. Go on the Rolodex. We got a lot of episodes now.
Yeah, 135. Coach K, what you got for the people?
First thing I got for the people is, look, I'm down about 7 pounds this year. Haven't set foot not in one gym, and I'm trying to understand why my face looks so fat still.
That's just age, baby. That's age.
Man, the Gerber baby smile, man. Just hold on to it.
That's the first thing I got, and I've been sitting here looking at myself as we've been recording this, trying to figure out why am I so fat still? What's going on? Am I retaining water in my face? What is happening? Anyway, all physical things are made up of atoms. You got protons, neutrons, and you got electrons. Your protons are positive, your neutrons are neutral, and your electrons are negative. Every single physical thing in this world is made up of that, but your mindset is also made up of positive, neutral, and negative. And it is up to you to decide which way you're going to go and what negative things you're going to let overpower your positive things. And some of you are out there just in a neutral state. You're not coming, you're not going, you're not negative, you're not positive, but you're just simply here and you're not actually living. And the challenge is that you need to learn. And it's funny, somebody said this to me earlier, and they're like, man, are you living that charged life? And that's what I would challenge you all to go out there and live a charged life, because for every positive thing, there's going to be something negative. There's going to be somebody that's not impressed with your positive thing. It's all on you, though. You hold the responsibility and you hold the ownership of living that charged life, of being that proton and not letting that electron just totally change the course of your future, the course of your day, the course of your relationship, and just the things that you can achieve. So how significant is that thing that happened? And that thing that happened was purposely put out there. The universe gives you positive, negative, and neutral, right? So when that one little thing happens, is it really that significant that it should change the whole course of potentially the rest of your life? Go out there and live that charged life.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for listening here with us on the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but
the views
are
amazing.
Welcome to where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views, they are amazing.
It's the 13th floor.